This is Toffees coming to you live from TI5 on behalf of 2P.Dota again with my guest, the Capitalist. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Today has been sort of an off day for me. I'm done commentating, so I just get to be here, enjoy the event, meet my friends, stuff like that.
So is that a good feeling or kind of a sad feeling when you're done casting and you just sort of sit back and watch everything?
Oh, it's definitely sad. It's definitely sad. Especially since I wasn't the All-Star match. I know a lot of people really liked it, but I personally didn't like my commentary so much. So for me, it was like I ended on that note. So it just made it all the more sad. But that being said, like I got an amazing series to end out my like official cast. Like that was absolutely amazing. Secret, like I get the this is what I keep putting to all the other commentators is like, hey, I got the last Team Secret match, you know, just because like they're obviously one of the most hyped teams that everybody wants to watch. So yeah, I mean, I'm still incredibly happy, and yeah, it's just like, oh, you know, I'm looking at the bright side of it. I get to, you know, be around here. I don't have to worry about being somewhere at a certain time. I just get to watch good Dota.
So let me ask you this. You said you didn't like the way that the All-Star match went. A lot of folks loved it. Everything that I heard on Twitter was like, this was the best thing we've ever seen. We enjoyed listening to it. So when you as a caster look at your cast or think about it afterwards, what did you see that made you think it wasn't great compared to, say, what we saw where we really enjoyed it?
So I guess there is definitely a difference between the public perception and what you feel. You're obviously going to notice your own mistakes a lot more, right? So like I'm usually like pretty open about my own like self-criticism, right? I usually try and do a lot of evaluation, and I'm pretty honest when I feel like a cast didn't really go well or something. And I personally didn't feel like it, but I'm reevaluating. Like everyone keeps telling me it was really good. I feel like OD did a really good job, so I think like that's probably part of the reason why. I think one of the biggest things I just didn't like, we didn't have a good amount of synergy, and that's not on OD, that's not on me. It's just the fact that we first time casting together, and it was a crazy match and stuff like that. So honestly, it was a lot of fun to cast. Like I'm not upset that like casting it or anything. Like it was so much fun to cast, and it was a lot of fun watching OD go crazy in person. And yeah, I just like personally wish I could see how it could be so much better. Essentially, OD and I kind of like talked about it because we didn't want a repeat of last year's, which was again a synergy problem. Right. So we talked about it. We planned out the shirt thing, you know, stuff like that, and we kind of planned it out. I think it could just be so much better because originally our idea was it was kind of like constant play-by-play, right. Where like he would go and then tap me in, and I would go right. Tap him in, and we would just kind of like constantly try and keep it going. So I think that would be really cool, really fun to do, but you know, it's just really difficult. You have to have really good synergy to pull something off like that. So yeah, I mean, like a lot of people really enjoyed it though, so you know, I'm not too worried about it at all. And I was really happy with Blitz and I's cast at the final series. So yeah, I know, like I feel like a lot of some of the games that I did here at the main event were not. I noticed a lot of mistakes that I made, and I wasn't very happy with that. But that being said, it's just like I know that I always have more to work on, right. Essentially. And so when I notice those mistakes, they stick with me, and I just make sure to try and correct them next time.
Makes sense. And now when you talk about synergy, I think we all know that two hype casters can be difficult to synergize. It takes a lot of practice, so much energy out there. Along those lines, there were rumors when TI was sort of first announced and the lineups came out that we were actually going to get to see a Toby1 Capitalist Grand Final hype cast. And I got really excited about that because I think that two hype casters who work together can be an awful lot of fun. Recently we started to hear rumors that it's going to be Toby Cinderin, and we do know that you're done for the event. Yeah. I know that your bucket list says you want to cast the grand final of the international. Is that something? How do you get to that point from here to be able to actually accomplish that dream?
Well, I have noticed from the cast that I did here that I have certain things to work on. I always have in my mind a list of things that I'm trying to improve on. So I've added a couple things to the list. I feel like some of my commentary wasn't very smooth, but I mean, nothing, like I don't want to go into the specifics. Basically, it just comes down to constantly improving. Not only my own like singular casting, but I actually feel like also improving the synergy between Blitz and I feel like that's actually our biggest selling point as a duo, is that we have and see, this is where like when people were like, oh, you're being too critical of yourself, I feel like I'm very good at reading a situation without putting myself into it. So I feel like I can give myself pretty honest appraisal. I feel like Blitz and I have the best synergy out of any of the duos. So in that regard, I think that is by far our best selling point, and I think we make each other better, right? Like Blitz is a second best co-caster out there. I'm like third, fourth best play-by-play caster, maybe second if you put me highly, right? But together we make, potentially the best duo, right? So focusing on that, I think, is actually something that I really want to do in the next year, especially since in the last 2 months or so, it's already been such a big improvement, and it's something that we bring to the Dota scene that none of the other commentator pairs, I think, really work on.
Gotcha. That sounds reasonable. That sounds like a good goal. We will save time, guys. Keep an eye on 2P.Dota. We've got more interviews coming. You can find me at Toffees_Dota2. Where can they find you, sir?
You can follow me at Dota Capitalist on Facebook and on Twitter.
If you didn't know that, you probably have had your head in the sand. So check back in regularly for more updates, but you heard it here first. Cinder and Toby, watch out because Cap and Blitz are on the way for TI6. This is Toffees signing out, as always.